Hey friends, welcome back to the Godspeed Garage. Issues. We're having issues. So when I first installed the Sniper EFI system, it never actually quite ran the way I thought it was supposed to. Mostly it was an idling issue, and then it was backfiring when I would hit it at full throttle or even half throttle. And I feel like it's gotten worse since then. Well, that was in the fall of last year, and in the wintertime I parked my truck because Central Oregon, snow, 300 some horsepower, two-wheel drive pickup, not such a good combination. So while my truck was parked for the winter, I took that time to do a few things, working on the bed and some other things here and there. And I forgot all about the issue of the Sniper unit itself not running very well. So when I got in to drive it this spring, it was really backfiring. So I thought maybe I should check this system out. So I did everything I could. I read a ton of forums on the idling issue, the backfiring issue, and did a tune-up on the engine, new cap rotors, spark plugs, messed with some of the settings in the handheld unit itself, checked my timing, readjusted everything. So I think I got as far as I could go. And then I remembered when I installed the fuel pressure gauge on this thing, when the truck was running, it actually buried the needle. And so I thought, man, great, I got another bad gauge. What are the odds of me getting two bad fuel pressure gauges? So I happened to actually pick up a fuel pressure gauge at the swap meet I went to in April. And that gauge actually goes up to like 160 or something like that. And so I hooked that one up. And when I fired my truck up, it was 105 to 110. So no wonder it was bottoming out the needle on that old gauge. So figured, man, it was probably something to do with the fuel system. And then I remembered I didn't hook up the return line to the actual bulkhead thing that they include with the kit. Instead, I hooked it up to the old gas tank where the vent that was going to like the charcoal canister. But I wasn't thinking that that vent was not a good return line. It was a vent. So then the other issue was because my gas tank now wasn't vented, that when I filled it up, it was pouring out the filler neck. So the truck tank needs to be vented, and I need to run a proper return line, and then we'll see and check to see if that fixes my issue. So here's what you'll need. You'll need two hose barb to dash 6 fittings, a dash 6 bulkhead and the nut, and 2 of these rubber washer gasket deals, and the tube that goes in your gas tank along with the hose clamps. And all of these things come in the master kit for the Sniper system. So before you start taking this apart, just be sure to clean it with a brush and your air hose so nothing falls inside the tank. Then you can disconnect the wires and then disconnect the hoses. These hoses always seem to try to fight you. So now we can remove the sending unit retainer by rotating it until the tabs are in these slots. And for that, we're going to use a flathead screwdriver and your favorite persuader. Don't forget to use gloves when handling any automotive fluid. No. Okay, so here's why you don't want to use a vent as a return line. This has a diaphragm on it, and that was likely causing restriction. And you don't want restriction in your fuel lines, especially your return line. You want the fuel lines to be flowing freely.
So now the instructions say, if possible at all, to drill into the sending unit. But it's not really possible because, as you can see here, see this nut, this is the only spot right here where I could do it. And this nut, there's no way that's gonna fit in there.
So now we need to siphon out all this gas.
This gas, it costs about $1 million a gallon, and I want to save as much as possible because I have lots of hot rod parts to buy and a girlfriend. Wait, no, I didn't mean buy a girlfriend. I meant check out this cool siphoning tool I got. It has a marble in the end of it, and you just submerge it and shake it, and somehow it magically creates a vacuum. So no more mouthfuls of gasoline, although I do like the taste. Now the instructions clearly say to drain the tank completely and let it dry, and then fill it with water. That probably has something to do with gas vapors and hot metal shavings and explosions and the 4th of July, and some lawyer probably made them put that in there. But that seems like a lot of extra work, so I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I wasn't able to get all of the fuel out, but that's okay. If I drop any metal shavings in there, I've got a trick I'll show you later. So now we need to find a spot to drill the hole. You need to find a flat surface that's close to the opening so you can get a wrench in there to tighten the fittings. So also make sure you check the inside of the tank for any obstructions. I think right about there is the winner. So as you're drilling this, to catch the shavings on the inside, you can take a shop towel and some tape and kind of make a bowl out of it. So we'll drill a pilot hole first, and then a step bit to make a 9/16 hole. Once you got your hole drilled, slowly pull your rag bowl out of it, trying not to drop any shavings. And wow, look how much it actually caught. That's gonna be perfect.
So you're gonna wanna deburr the edges with a deburring tool. And as you do, you're gonna wanna put your rag underneath it, or you can use your glove. Just make sure you don't drop any of those metal shavings. Try to catch as many as possible. So now once you got it fully deburred, you wanna assemble your bulkhead and hose assembly.
So according to the diagram and the instructions, here's what the assembled bulkhead should look like. You've got your hose clamp holding the hose onto the barbed hose end, number 7, and attached to the bulkhead, which is number 11, and the rubber washers sandwiching the inside and outside of the tank, then the bulkhead nut, number 10, the other hose end, and finally the tube held on with another hose clamp. Oh, and don't forget the worms.
So now we're gonna check the depth. So what you can do is go down here. And as you can see, that's pretty close to the top right here. I want a little bit of wiggle room though, so I can cinch that up really tight. Plus, it doesn't say this in the instructions, but it just says to keep the end of this submerged in gasoline, but it's probably not good for this to be all the way up against the bottom of the tank. So I'm probably gonna cut off about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch or so. Okay, so you can see I trimmed off about 3/8 of an inch or so off the end of it. And now when I dip it in there, you can see this actually goes down almost to right where it touches there. So that's probably even right there, which is just off the bottom of the tank, which is about perfect. Okay, so now at this point, after we're done deburring and drilling and everything, just in case I dropped any metal shavings down there, I'm actually gonna stick a magnet down in there. This is a stainless steel magnet, and see if I can pick up any loose shavings at all. And you can see I picked up quite a bit. I'll just do this until I don't get any more. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Okay, so now it's time to install the bulkhead. And this is a little tricky because you don't want to drop this in your tank. So first what I'll do, since this rubber gasket kind of sticks on there pretty well, it doesn't fall off, is probably stick that up on there and then carefully do the nut. Here we go. Don't drop, don't drop, don't drop. Man, good thing I'm a ninja. That went on there pretty easy. Okay, so now the tricky part, gotta tighten it down. You gotta be able to get a wrench in there, and it's a 7/8 nut. So, all right, Yep, I'm gonna call that good. Now, time to attach the hose end. And again, you don't wanna drop this. Helps to be ambidextrous too. All right, and then we'll check the hose here. Yeah, so I can move the hose and it doesn't feel like it's hitting the bottom, so I think we're good. So now all that's left is attaching the other hose barb -6 fitting. All right, so now I think we're good to go. We'll just reinstall the sending unit. That alignment tab there, make sure you're in the right spot. All right, so there's that. Let's hook up a fuel feed line. And we can reconnect our power for our sending gauge. So now, to fix the venting issue I was having where gas was gushing out the filler neck after filling it up and sitting in the hot sun for a while, I got this remote vent valve thing, and it just has to be mounted as high or higher than the filler neck. So I'm just gonna zip tie it over here and cross my fingers and hope that fixes the problem. Magical. There we go, look at all this goodness. Now to test to see if this fixed the problem or not. All right, so obviously that didn't fix my problem. I have a suspicion it's going to be that pressure regulator. It's even worse now. You saw it's fluctuating back and forth between, I don't know, 80 and now it's like 110, 120. But anyway, I got to get back on the phone with Holley and figure this thing out, but it's late and they're closed. So that's going to have to wait until probably tomorrow or the next day. So that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, at least I showed you how to hook up the return line into your tank, right? So don't say I didn't give you something. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong. Maybe you have an idea of what to check, why it's running this way. Anyway, check back for the next episode. I'm sure we'll get this figured out next time, hopefully, anyway. Thanks for watching. See ya.